Cool. So this first poem is called Christmas Day. And I know it's a bit early to be speaking about Christmas, however, indulge me. It's about how my idea of Christmas and what it means has transformed over the years. And it's transformed due to financial hardship, growing up, and things of that nature, stuff that we all go through. So this first piece is called Christmas Day, and it's about that. I remember Christmas Day. I woke up early even though I stayed up late to catch a glimpse of Santa, sneaking down chimneys and creeping through alleyways. I left out cookies to see if he was real. And to my amazement, the cookies were gone the next day. There was a time when I used to believe anything that my family would say. I remember Christmas Day. I opened toys and jumped into the realm of play, escaping the daily grind and whatever else was on the adults' minds that stopped them from being as open as I. My radiation permeated through the hearts that couldn't cross back to a simpler time as everyone was hell-bent on bending over backwards by breaking down their bank balance. I remember Christmas Day. My Christmas spirit was diminished by the heated conversations taking place about the reduction in your wage. Unable to sustain the bountiful Christmases that once took place, but it was only like that because you had to compensate for your mistakes. You started asking what I wanted, and I would reply with nothing, trying to protect your wallet. Embarrassment set in and fights took place. I remember Christmas Day. After the fights, the lows and the highs, we broke our family ties and it got worse. Winter began to feel like a curse, focusing on the money spin that keeps this false economy floating, selling us shit we will inevitably throw away. Polluting the soil and the oceans at the time, we knew nothing, we were just stumbling through each year and every year got tougher. I remember the Christmas where you were ill. The house was dark and everyone felt the chill. Finally noticing how you single-handedly kept the house lit and warm. We never took any consideration for the amount of planning you often did the months before. The medication you finally secured fueled our hopes, but reinstated what we already know, that we are scared to die and afraid to live. The irony is that this very moment reinvigorated our enthusiasm for Christmas, because without you here, it's pointless. So while you are, why not make it a celebration? I remember the Christmas where we finally got back to tradition. We all helped with the food, watched a shit movie or two and fell asleep in the late afternoon. In the evening, we had finger food, played charades, people visited, the house was fully decorated, and I no longer believe in the concept, but damn, it felt like Christmas. Next year, I know what I want. So let me ask in advance. I want all these years chalked up on a calendar just to look back and laugh at all the little issues we were dealing with. Nowadays, they mean nothing, because just being together is the most important thing. So I can't wait for next Christmas, so we can all be together again. Thank you. Hydration is key. This next poem is inspired by two people. One being my partner. Hello, Noel. That's you. Shout out to Noel. She gave me the prompt, when I say, I mean. So this piece is called When I Say, I Mean. And the second person that inspired this poem is our lovely host, Rohan. Yes, you. I bought it especially for you. So, about a year and a half ago, I was performing at Rohan's show, and he's also got a poem about being a father, and I observed him actually being a father to his children and how infused he was about being a father, and it kind of like touched me in a way, and I thought that was very peculiar because growing up I never really saw that often. So I asked him, like, how did you get so infused about being a parent? And he told me that he reconnected with his father and that encouraged him to be a better father. And then he encouraged me to do the same. So I wrote this piece while thinking about reconnecting with my father, who I don't speak to. So it's a reflective piece. So it goes. It's called When I Say, I Mean. When I say I don't care about my father, I mean I don't know this man, other than the second-hand stories I was told, followed by a brief introduction at 11 years old, solidifying that I wasn't a part of his plans until demands of attention from my mother yielded financial compensation, paying for a mistake made at conception. A mistake is the key part of that sentence. When I say I don't know my father, I mean that he's been busy, attending to his other women and children, brothers and sisters I know little of, other than what's been crafted in my imagination. No time for the runt of the litter. My birth was less exciting than the first or second. I was probably around 6 or something. If we were to be placed in chronological order, possibly fall into the bottom if we were ranked in order of importance. When I say order of importance, I mean that's how I often see my own involvement. Never a centerpiece, but rather a bland fit somewhere amidst the master puzzle. Never feeling like I belonged, as no one seemed to fit my shape. I had to trim my edges to fit into a prideless place, and when placing my face, I was only able to see half the DNA strains, as my teeth and eyes don't seem to be recognized when I greet my family ties on my mother's side. When I say placing my face, I mean I felt ashamed of how I look, who I am, where my roots lie. My limited knowledge has me stuck. I'm expected to act black. This notion was popularized through music, often linking behaviors to shades of skin color. The youth loved it, so I loved it. Clung to it as if it was my identity, the only thing that could connect me to the culture, until I was rejected by those from the culture, proving how English I really was. The music I listened to was not enough. When I say culture, I mean my father's family ties to Jamaica, a West Indian dialect that I only come into contact with when visiting food trucks that use their national flag to represent them. I look deep into their faces as I order the food that has the least spice in it. I check my skin colour. It's true. I check my skin colour when I'm handed the package. I think about what this represents, how it's so blatant and obvious that this conflicts with my mannerisms when interacting with those that are rooted in a culture I know very little about. And I wonder if my father would ever grant me access to this fountain of knowledge. So when I say I don't care about my father, I mean to say that it's complicated. I have no emotional attachment to him, but there is a conflict within which makes me question who I am. And wondering where one fits is a common thing, and the things I must do to discover where that is will be testing, going against everything leading up to this point. So as I consider reaching out to him, my heart starts hardening as I prepare for more rejection, unveiling a small glimpse of how much I care. Thank you. It's real, innit? It's real life. Thank you to Ryan. And no. Oh, bro. We're on the edge of the stage. Appreciate it.
Fucking beautiful.
No, it's true, man. It's real life. I appreciate the inspiration. See, it's just real life, innit? You get me? It's what poetry can do. So, with that, another real one. This is going to be my last one. You alright? Is it? It's following on, this one's called Milestones. For those that don't know, I'm a housing officer in my 9 to 5, which means I work in supported accommodation. We house the homeless. And over the years that I've been doing it, I've seen a lot of patterns, people come into our supported accommodation. So I just took one of those stories and made it into a poem. The context to understand this piece is that it's someone's story and it's written in kind of like segments which skip time. So I'm going to clap to signify a new segment. Second point is that it's written backwards. So it starts at the end and ends at the start. The reason being is because when we meet people, we often take them at face value. And then when we get to know them, we uncover the backstory a bit more. So I thought it was interesting to write it that way. It's called Milestones. I have a home. I have a family. I have employment. I find enjoyment. I have been encouraged to go beyond. But even still, it only takes one thing for it all to go wrong. Finally, I signed an agreement for a tenancy. My support workers were tearful as we are hopeful for the first time in a long time, and around this time, I believe I've met my future wife. It's a sign that I'm back on track. I have stability, accountability. Savings are in place for when I eventually get offered an escape, another chance to obtain a home for my kids to come around and play. I'm finally coping. Coming out of the haze that has held me captive, successfully unloading my baggage, I actually held a conversation today. And it felt less challenging. Encouraging me to apply for that job at the local library as I have a feeling that I could get it. My well-being is average. My memory still feels shattered. I can't keep track of my tablets. I can barely manage, but at least I'm housed. Maybe now my kids can come round. Help me. Please. Desperation has seeped into every one of my dreams. My reality is an anxiety attack, unsure of who I am, how I got here. I don't understand. I just need some help. Please. Sofa surfing, To tell the truth, I'm lost and nervous because I know deep down that they want me out as I lack purpose, just moping around the house. Unable to find myself amongst all this self-doubt, I had a breakdown. I don't know where it started, but my mind is segregated into compartments, unable to bridge the gap between my emotions, life administration, and ultimately my health has suffered. After 10 years of marriage, my wife and I have separated. It took me by surprise, but I guess we just got complacent. Too late to realize that my overworking was applying pressure beneath the surface. On the surface, we are most deserving. Attend every social occasion as me and my wife have many friends and spend the weekends just relaxing. Life as an adult couldn't get any better. I just hope it stays like this forever. I already had home. I already had a family. I already had employment. I already find enjoyment. I have already been encouraged to go beyond. But even still, it only takes one thing for it all to go wrong. Thank you for indulging me. I've been secure. Thank you very much.